When we hear the word cancer, we immediately visualize a random, monstrous error. We imagine rogue cells turning against us, a biological enemy creeping through healthy tissue, determined to shut our bodies down. Modern medicine reacts to this fear with force. We declare a literal war on the body, rushing to cut the tissue out, burn it with radiation, or use chemical poisons to stop the perceived invasion. This scorched earth approach leaves massive collateral damage. Bombarding the system with radiation shatters the very immune system meant to protect us, yet it fails to address why the environment became toxic enough for these cells to appear in the first place. Our DNA has spent millions of years evolving to preserve life. Every genetic instruction is geared toward survival. It is highly unlikely that this perfectly refined code would suddenly trigger a self-destruct sequence without a biological reason. The biological reality is far more deliberate. The body triggers this high-stakes rescue operation as a final attempt to prevent immediate systemic collapse. To see how this rescue works, we have to look at the body's internal plumbing. We rely on a waste management network, specifically the lymphatic system and the liver, to act as a sewer, filtering out metabolic waste and environmental toxins. Our modern lifestyle systematically blocks these pipes. We overload the system with highly processed foods, chemical medications, and constant microwave radiation, creating a backlog that the liver can no longer process. When the sewer lines fail, toxic waste spills back into the cellular environment. A thick, acidic fluid surrounds the healthy cells, effectively choking them and cutting off their supply of life-giving oxygen. Trapped in this lethal anaerobic environment, the cells face an ultimatum. They can asphyxiate and die, or they can undergo a stochastic mutation to generate energy without oxygen. To survive the suffocation, the cell pivots. It alters its own genetics to generate energy by fermenting sugar instead of breathing oxygen. This change allows the cell to stay online even when the surrounding environment is effectively dead. This mutation represents an intelligent genetic pivot. It allows the body to maintain cellular activity despite the surrounding toxicity. As toxins continue to build, the body takes evasive action. It begins to corral these poisons and mutated cells into a single localized mass. This tumor acts as a biological trash dump, walling off concentrated poisons to prevent them from circulating to the heart or the brain. When a tumor is removed through surgery or destroyed with chemo, these trapped toxins are often violently released back into the blood. The body, still drowning in the original toxicity, is forced to build new dump sites immediately, a process we call metastasis. The tumor is essentially a protective shield. It is buying the host time to clean the internal environment before the entire system shuts down. Real healing begins when we stop attacking the rescue team and start cleaning the environment. If the body no longer needs an emergency dump site, it can focus on dismantling it. Direct, unfiltered sunlight provides the skin with the energy to synthesize vitamin D. This hormone acts as a master activator for immune cells, signaling them to find and dismantle abnormal growth before it can consolidate into a mass. Sleep is the only time the body can prioritize deep tissue cleaning. Between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., the liver and gallbladder enter their peak detoxification cycle, filtering the day's toxic load, while the digestive system is dormant and the blood can be purified. A plant-based diet introduces live enzymes that neutralize the acidic waste produced by meat and dairy. Moving the body from an acidic, sugar-dependent state to an alkaline, oxygen-rich state starves the tumor, as fermentation cannot continue in the presence of high oxygen levels. This leads to natural regression. Once the blood is clear and the oxygen levels rise, the immune system naturally breaks down the tumor because its protective role is no longer necessary. There is an invisible block to this process: unhealed emotional trauma. Deep guilt and chronic stress flood the blood with toxic hormones that physically paralyze immune cells and keep the body in a state of high acid tension. The terror induced by a cancer diagnosis often accelerates the illness. That sudden panic causes the blood vessels to constrict and digestion to stop, creating the exact low-oxygen, high-stress environment that tumors need to thrive. Releasing past trauma and finding mental peace is a physical requirement for healing. It allows the nervous system to relax and shifts the body's chemistry back into an alkaline mode, where self-repair is possible. Your body is acting in its own best interest, even in its most desperate states. Cancer is a demand for a different way of living. By removing fear and aligning with your body's biological requirements, recovery becomes the logical path forward.